Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new episode of the Deb and Nina V Show.
My name is Deb.
And my name is Nina. So for today's topic, right, we want to discuss mental health and how it correlates to the, inability to trust. Yeah, and before we even dive in, guys, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. All right, so now that we're back, okay, let's focus on the brain. Okay,
Yes.
Let's go back to school.
Yes.
So the portion of our brain that's responsible for emotions such as fear and trust is called the amygdala, right? It's like a small almond-like shaped structure located in our temporal brain. Now, not only does it help process emotions, but it also does memory as well. So it's processing the both of them. Yeah, so we know how important that is then to the ability to, trust or the lack of, distrust.
Right. And that's important that you mentioned because the fact that we know it's actually a part of the brain that controls this, it's obviously safe to assume that there could be disorders along this portion of your brain, right? Due to traumas or other events that happen in your life. And yes, things do happen, but when it comes to a point where you are unable to trust excessively, now it starts to affect your ability to function on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
And when it comes to that point, that might be something you might want to look into, seeing a therapist to see if you actually have a mental health disorder that is impacting your ability to trust.
Yeah,
Right?
and literally function in the world. Because, no, go ahead and dive in.
I was just gonna say, we went ahead and did the research for you, right? We looked up some of the mental health disorders that can help you decipher if you're struggling with these sort of issues. And so we're just gonna run through them.
Yeah,
Sounds good. All right. So the first one I have here is called paranoid personality disorder. Okay. So this one reminds me of that a lot. Basically, they have a pervasive distrust for others, and they're always suspicious of others, okay? Even if they have no reason to not trust you or evidence or justification, they just have this level of distrust and they can't get over it.
Yeah,
you
like
know?
an abnormal amount.
Yes. And if that's you, you probably enter the door with a shotgun, you probably, raise an eyebrow at anybody who looks at you for too long,
Right.
whatever.
Or questioning their intentions
Right.
for no reason, like you said.
No reason. So that might be something that you're struggling with.
Yeah, and for number 2, we have post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. And I feel like a lot of you may already know generally what it is, right? Like, traumatic events. Now, the thing is, though, there is no level, I would say, of a scale or even traumatic events that can write you off of this, because anything as small as, being locked in a closet when you were young is a traumatic event, okay? You don't have to compare your traumatic event to someone else who got in a car accident or witnessed someone who unfortunately passed. Anything within that traumatic experience for you will have your emotions irregulated. Okay, and it is gonna have that chemical imbalance almost, right? So you're dealing with that PTSD, and for a fact it's anything that can set you off. You definitely want to look into that therapy, psychiatrist, and get some help on that.
Yeah. And speaking of chemical imbalance, we have another one here called borderline personality disorder. Okay. And this one, there are usually people who struggle with trust because of fear of abandonment, or, unstable relationships and things like that may lead to BPD. I'm trying to get the letters correct. But yeah, that's also a chemical imbalance. You don't know what you're gonna get. If a person struggles with that, you're gonna have the highs and you're gonna have the lows, and then it flops. Dad was like that a lot too. So.
Yeah, he definitely had his high where everything was happy. Then he hit the deep depressive kind of like episodes. So if your emotions are kind of like on and off, and you've been living with that, it's not normal. Okay, and definitely look into that to getting some help. And so what I have here is social anxiety disorder. Now, this is common, right? And I feel like a lot of people may probably use it, probably misuse it too, if they're not correctly diagnosed with it.
Right.
I mean, there's a thing as, I'm shy and I don't want to I'm not in the mood to talk to somebody. But there's also social anxiety disorder, where everywhere you go, you're thinking of how the person at the event is perceiving you, and it's always in a negative light.
Yeah.
Okay, like you're like thinking like, oh, they view me negatively, or their opinion of me. If you're crippled in how other people view you at social events, that it's stopping you from actually putting your best foot forward and introducing yourself and actually letting them see your real personality, it's definitely something that you want to look into.
Yes. And then lastly here we have generalized anxiety disorder, GAD for short. But these people usually struggle with excessive worry or a chronic sense of unease.
Wow,
I mean,
okay.
So it almost kind of relates to the first one I mentioned here, where you feel like people have bad intentions towards you, you know, and you can't like really look at anybody with a fresh eye. It's always like, oh, you know, be careful. You gotta, you know, they're just always worrying.
Yeah, that probably is like heavy on, you know, pessimism too, because it's like you're always like fearing and expecting the worst.
Exactly.
So it's just like, you know, like you said, trust is very important to have, you know, in a functioning society, right?
Yes.
There's a little bit level of trust that we have,
Absolutely.
whether you may or not think about it, with the neighbor, you know, with the cashier, you know, with whatever, that you're thinking that they're not gonna screw you over, you know?
Right.
So if you're one of these people that's going out to these public places and viewing strangers who you have no connection to, right? And you're perceiving or projecting that these emotions onto constantly, it's definitely something to take a look at.
Yes. And guys, you know, it's no big deal. Like, a lot of people struggle with some of these disorders.
Yeah.
You know, different levels of the scale wherever you are. But either way, even if you don't struggle with any of them, I still would recommend, you know, routinely mental checking up yourself by seeing a therapist or a psychiatrist or whatever works for you.
Exactly.
To just kind of always check in, because mental health is something that's easily ignored all the time. And we think, you know, we're mentally tough and we can get through everything. But over time, these experiences, these anxieties, they wear us down, you know.
Yes.
And like we said, it is a part of the brain, and of course, any part of if we can take care of it, you know, you should do that.
Exactly. And not only is it like, you know, dysregulating your emotions, but it's affecting your memory as well. Now it's kind of like, well, or you keep trapping yourself in the past and you're not allowing yourself to form new emotions or new memories.
Right.
It's just like, then you're always gonna perceive the world in such a negative way of like someone's always trying to get you or anything like that, you know? So we definitely wanna encourage you to look into that, because we do want you to have that ability to trust your strangers, to trust the world, because our internal, how we view ourselves internally, is a reflection of our external world.
Right.
So now, with that being said, guys, like if you liked any of the lists that we went through, or if it's familiar, or if it's something that you may struggle with, let us know in the comments of how you're overcoming it. I mean, stress is huge, right, to function. So what are the steps that you're doing?
And if you also disagree with anything that we said, or maybe we missed a diagnosis, drop it in the comments as well. We want to know. And if you have not done so already, please hit that bell, like, and subscribe.
Okay.
We drop these videos every week, so you don't want to miss it.
All right, guys. We'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.